Hey everybody, Carl White here, broadcasting from the secret headquarters here in the Mortgage Marketing Animals / Freedom Club. And you are listening to Loan Officer Freedom Podcast, #1 podcast in the world today for loan officers. And it's a true honor today. I've got a very dear friend of mine, special guest. This person has been a huge part of the success that I've had, both in the training company and in the mortgage company that I work with. The ever so talented Miss Mary Carroll herself. I feel like I'm talking to like Oprah or Ellen or something. So it's a true honor to have you here, Mary. Great. Thanks for carving the time out to speak with us today.
Thank you, Carl. I am humbled and honored to be here with you. Thank you for asking me along.
Yeah. Well, so just to fill in the blanks here for a lot of people. So Mary and I've known each other for probably 20 years now, I guess. And so Mary is a local real estate agent here to this area that I'm in, here in the greater Tampa Bay area, actually a little town called Palm Harbor, little bedroom community of Tampa. Mary, a very successful real estate agent, was one of the very first people to start sending me over referrals and kind of, Mary, I always tell people, you kind of, figuratively speaking, you kind of put your arm or your wing around me, and just a very critical person in my early stages and later stages too, of course. But and just kind of show me the ropes. And you were, and still are, but you were what we called, and I've never said this to your face, but you're what we call a whale in the industry, right? And I just want to clarify, Mary is a very fit, very healthy person.
I try anyway. There's that.
Yeah. Well, and you've pulled it off. So it has nothing to do with looks or anything. Not that ever matters anyway. But a top producer here in the area in the real estate community. And frankly, that as a top producer, you kind of took me under your wing, and knowing that I was brand new in the business. Just really says a lot about your character, which, by the way, I that's one thing I want everybody to, I think is a big part of this particular episode. So we're titling this episode, "What do real estate agents really want?" And what I mean by that is, what do they want from us as a loan officer, not just for that deal, but to trust us with their leads, to give us referrals. What do they want from us to make that happen? But one thing that you've taught me, Mary, and I have found to be pretty much, I wouldn't say always true, but mostly true, is that top producing real estate agents are, as a general rule, very cordial, charming at some level, which is part of the reason why they became, or you became that, because you have a kind spirit to begin with. And I always thought, the reason you helped me out, or one of the reasons, I think, knowing that I was wet behind the ears still, is it's kind of like these top producing agents. You remember what it was like when you started, and you can see that fire in somebody's eye that really wants to achieve this, and that these top agents will take the time to at some level be a mentor, because they kind of remember, like, somebody helped you out to get started, and you kind of like paying it forward. Not that everybody acts that way, but I found as a general rule that a lot of the top producing agents are, they even if somebody's brand new, they're a little bit more gracious sometimes. Have you found that to be true also? Not obviously with yourself, but with others also?
I do. I agree. Especially, I feel like one of the things that is super important is just to meet other people in industry, whether you're an LO looking for real estate agents to work with, or a real estate agent that is being approached by LOs, or insurance agents, or home inspectors, but somebody with the same cultural fit. Okay. So most of the people that we attract in our lives, Carl, are kind of like us. They, try to work with an integrity, with honesty. They try to do the right thing. They bend over backwards to help. And so to answer the question, yes, I think that those of us that are doing pretty well in our business after all these years are looking for ways to give back because that's just who we are. And so the agents in my area, I feel like that are really just killing it and doing a really great job that I would want to include in my world are those people that want to give back, that want to come from a place of contribution, whether it be for a listing or a buyer or a lender or a whatever, just to come from that place of contribution, if that helped answer your
Yeah, it
question.
does. It does.
Yeah.
I think, I think that, at least for me, is always, always, early in the game, I always saw people as a little bit bigger and badder. And I don't mean bad in a good way, but like
Me
me, let's
too.
say it that.
A
Like,
little bit better than me. If they find out who I really am, then oh my gosh, the jig's going to be up. Exactly.
yes, like I had to somehow pretend that I too was up to that level when I knew I couldn't pull that off. Number one, it wouldn't be the truth. And number two, as soon as you ask me a question, very likely I'd be stumped,
But Carl, can I tell you, you say that when you and I first met, that I taught you a lot. Can I tell you, I was in the business for, I don't know, 6 or 7 years, 5, 6, 7 years at that point in time. But you taught me a lot too about what I needed. I didn't even realize it, but I just needed somebody to partner with me in this business that was going to be honest with me, that taught me like treated me like a human being. I don't know if a lot of lenders out there know this, but sometimes when we're approached by lenders, I feel like I have like an ATM machine on my forehead and not, I mean, I'm a human being. But from the very moment after, I think it was, and I tell people it was, you either called me 4 weeks in a row. Now I know that it's called a certain strategy that we have, or 5 weeks in a row, but your timing was absolutely impeccable. But before that time, I met different lenders and I didn't really know that you could partner with a lender. And you were so authentic and so honest and so brave. I remember you coming into my office with 2 cups of coffee and, Mary, just tell me how you did it. Tell me how you attract all these people and how you built this business. And you were just honest. And once you found out I was a single mom, it was like, Mary, I don't care who does this deal for you, but before you put somebody in your car, please let me talk to them. I want to protect your time with your sons. And that was so huge to me, Carl. So you taught me a lot. And for the 20 years since then, I have only looked for people that were brave enough and courageous enough and authentic enough to ask me those questions. Tell me about your life. Tell me what's going on with you. What do you need? How can I help you? Let's make sure we protect you. To take that name and that phone number, that's my paycheck, if you will, and carry it all the way through for me, whether it's your team that does it or you do it, right?
Yeah. And I think that's kind of what it is like, I think the biggest thing for a lender when they're looking for referral partners, whether they're a real estate agent, title company, insurance agent, attorney, just being honest, for me personally, mine's been almost strictly real estate agents because I always figured, Mary, virtually all of your buyer clients need my services,
Exactly.
right? Not all, but virtually all. But if I go to like an attorney, only a certain percentage of his clients need my services.
No,
So if I'm
as a
going to,
lender, you need to devote your time to real estate agents.
I've always thought that. I mean,
Yeah.
and I know some of our people in the Freedom Club, they do get referrals from and good sources from others. But if you're just like, hey, I'm looking to make 5 new relationships, man, it's hard to beat somebody where virtually all of their clients need your services. I mean, for me, it's always been the real estate agent, but I think the bottom line in all of it is just having conversations with them and looking for people that you just, and I'm talking about from the lender standpoint. So from my standpoint, I'm looking for people that I genuinely like.
Exactly.
And
There
then
are thousands of real estate agents out there. I
yeah,
always look at that first coffee or the first meeting or the first phone call or during the transaction is an excellent time to get to know a new agent. But look at it as, you've got some openings within your organization for new real estate referral partners, and look at those first contacts as sort of an interview on the lender's part. is this somebody that's going to culturally fit with what I've built? Is this someone who has the same values, the same belief system, the same integrity as I do? I think that's really important, to come from a place of, this is what I'm looking for. This is my avatar for the perfect real estate agent, and ask questions to that end.
I like that. I do. I think it's because I think like, because like the agents that I'm calling on, look, if it's somebody that we're going to be working together, we're going to be working together a lot. And let's say, I don't know, I'm going to pick up, I don't know, like Bob. I meet with real estate agent Bob, and I go, and I'm not picking on the Bobs in the world, by the way. I should have made some name up, but somebody will have that name, sure, of the world. So,
and we're not going to do the man-woman thing either.
Yeah, no, right. And so, some of my best friends are named Bob, right? So, no, so if I talk with Bob and I go, gosh, I don't know, man, Bob's just not my kind of, I don't know, just like I didn't feel it. You know what I'm saying? Like it seemed like a stressed conversation. The agents I'm going to be working with, we're going to be talking a lot together. Like we're going to be,
exactly.
We're going to be
in the trenches with those people.
Yeah. And so for me, the first thing I do is just look for people that I genuinely like and I would hang out with anyway. We just happen to be working together. And that certainly falls in the case with you and I. You and your hubby and me and the lovely Mrs. White, is like the four of us would hang out anyway. We just happen to work together. And I think that's the key point in all this, because then it makes everything else easy. Because I've heard people say, well, yeah, but you got to work at the relationship. And I go, I don't know that that's true, because I look for relationships that just work. Like Mary, if you look at myself and you, like I literally in 20 years, I cannot think of one crossword or one, we've dealt with some issues, but it's always been from a point of, hey, I'm talking with a buddy of mine. I'm talking to a very dear friend of mine. And it's just a relationship. We've never had to work on our relationship. It just worked. You know what I'm saying?
And I think that has to do with like expectation. Like you and I never had a lot of expectation. It was just expect and see. We just look forward to talking together, and Maria and my husband Les and you and I, like, it's just been just eager to talk to, because it's an easy, nice relationship.
Yeah.
For the last 25 years.
Yeah. So I would say for the loan officers is like the first thing that, from my standpoint, the first thing that I'm looking for is who is just genuinely a nice person that I would enjoy talking with every Monday when I do my Monday morning phone call. And we'll talk about that in a minute. Or when I do my Tuesday updates, or when I call the past database, then call my agent to update them on who I called in my past database that was there. Or when I'm sending out my Thursday text of who are you working with this weekend that we need to pre-approve to make sure it's a good use of your time ? Like, who am I going to enjoy? If we're talking almost every day of the week, or somebody on my team is talking with that person almost every day of the week, apart from the weekends, it's like it needs to be somebody that I just enjoy. Yeah, that I at the appropriate level, of course, that I enjoy working with. So now let's talk about what you want from us. So sometimes some people might think, hey, Carl, if you're calling them every day of the week, is that going to get as an overload? So, and this is not a scripted call here, Mary. You and I didn't even share notes before. We just literally got on the phone. Yeah. Got on the Zoom call here, and I hit the record button, and we because I wanted this to be very impromptu. So if I call, so let's go through the days real quick. If I call you on Monday morning and do the old, hey, how was your weekend? What'd you and Les do? Does that get annoying when somebody calls, like somebody that you genuinely like at the appropriate level? Is it annoying if they call you, hey, who'd you work with over the weekend that I can get off of your plate and start working up and following up with them? Do you see that as a negative?
No. If as long as I'm producing, right? If I'm an agent that's not producing a lot, then I'm going to have to say, oh no, I still didn't meet anybody. Oh, I told you last week, Carl, I still didn't meet anybody. So, but if I'm active and I am, some sort of a fish level, if I do meet a lot of people, no, that's fine. Especially if I know the phone call, you and I have a friendship business relationship, right? So I love hearing from my friends. I talk to
Mm.
some of my friends every other day. Like, I love hearing from my friends. And especially because you're coming from a place of contribution. How'd that open house go, Mary? Was it,
Mhm.
how'd you deal with the COVID thing during the open house? Did you have people lined up around the block? What, is there anybody that came through the open house that I can help you with? Because I'd be happy to vet those people for you before you meet them for, an appointment, and be like, thanks, Carl. Can I just forward you? Can I just scan and send over my open house list? You'd be like, and you did, Carl. That's the way it works, right?
Yeah, yeah, because I found that like you had so many leads coming in that there's no way one person could cover all that. So then when we got those open house leads, man, we'd go through that because that's where I'm getting my loans from, right?
And
And I
remember,
know,
it was Cindy or Lori, or I can't remember, back 20 years ago now, excuse me, but you'd call those people too. Mary asked me to give you a call and wanted you to know, thank you so much for coming to the open house. She'd love to show you property. My job for Mary is to find money for people. Let's get you pre-approved so she can meet you for an appointment.
yeah, and I so and again, I'm just totally pulling back the curtain. I found, frankly, that was much easier than actually sitting at the open house itself,
Oh, Lord.
with you. Not that I wouldn't want to hang out with you on a Saturday afternoon, but just being honest,
Well,
because
Carl, you didn't come to open houses. I never expected you to. You didn't come to closings. I never expected you to. However, you did something super cool for all my clients. You would say, Mary, how many people are going to be in the moving truck? When are they moving in? I'm going to send pizzas over, but don't be surprised. It's coming from you and a little bit from me too, which was made me look so good. That's what agents are looking for. Make me look even better than I already try to be, and
mm,
make it a seamless transaction. Make sure that the people know, that my clients know that they're being taken care of. And Mary and I want to be sure that you get a 5-star experience and white glove treatment throughout this process. And I've got this team of people that's going to carry this thing through every single time for you. Like, that's what agents are looking for. They're looking for speed, not necessarily speed of the closing, but speed of response. If I give you a
mm.
name and a number, oh my gosh, somebody from your team or you better be calling my lead back.
Yeah, that's a great point, which this is a whole nother topic.
It
But
is.
as we're, but I think it's due. It is due about 2 minutes it was due a whole day of response, but at least 2 minutes here. Is that speed of response is critical. So if I'm a one woman band or one man band loan officer at my shop and I'm chasing conditions on a file and I got something going south, and then you send me over a lead, I can't get to it because I'm too busy working on the deal I'm currently working on, this closing this afternoon. You have got, as a loan officer, you absolutely positively have to have a team approach to this, that when a lead is sent over, what Mary just said is so true. The speed of following up on that lead is absolutely critical.
And Carl, it doesn't have to be you or the loan officer. This is Mary calling from Carl's office over at XYZ Mortgage. Carl wanted to move you right to the top of the line. Let me direct you to our online application. I'm going to help you get all the documents together, and I'm going to get you on Carl White's schedule himself, or whoever you deem
Yeah.
can do that, right? For the loan consultation.
Yeah. Just start helping them out, because
Yeah.
you don't care who actually talks to that client, as long as it's accurate, and what you just said, speed of action, speed of the follow-up.
And if they know that you're the one that asked me to call, right?
Yes.
As your team, as your partner, as your teammate, as your LO or your
Yes.
dialer, whatever.
Yeah.
My
Now,
God.
I think one thing, and I'd love to hear your honest answer on this. So sometimes I think what holds a lot of loan officers back from making the call is they think, well, I have to bring something of value. And I'm going to agree with that statement. You do have to bring something of value, but let me go a little deeper here. Uh, so when you and I first met, I mean, I literally knew diddly squat, and I mean like diddly
I didn't
squat.
know that. Carl.
Right.
This is
Yeah.
the first time I knew that. I never knew that.
I literally knew nothing, I'm so grateful, Dave
I think
Hoyt.
you're blushing. You just got
Oh,
busted.
dude, I'm just so grateful for Dave Hoyt. He was my branch manager, such a gracious man, such a patient man that would field all my phone calls because I knew nothing. So I literally, what most people would see it, I had nothing to bring to the table because I didn't know anything, right? I mean, like literally nothing. But what I did bring to the table, and I hope this comes across the right way, what I did bring to the table was me, and that I genuinely liked you people don't know us at the appropriate level. I genuinely liked you, and I enjoyed asking you about your business and how you did it and how you did things because I was genuinely interested because you were a master of the craft. I was brand new.
You
And
asked
so
me
the only
questions
thing,
nobody ever asked me before. How do
what's
you?
that?
You asked me questions no lender had ever asked me before, which was so refreshing.
Which was really just questions about
Like,
you.
how do you find these people? How do you build this business? Why?
Yeah.
I just want to know, like, was the it factor that you have inborn, or did you create it somehow? It was like, I just am hungry to learn from you. And it was quite intoxicating in a good way,
Yeah.
in
No,
an
I get it. I get it.
appropriate way. Yeah.
I get it. So I think, I think, you know, people like being asked questions. I mean, I do, right? Everybody does. I like being, somebody comes up and say, "Hey, Carl, tell me how you created this, mortgage empire that you've created here. I hear you're," and I'm saying this as a hypothetical. I hear you're amazing. Well, that's not hypothetical. No, I hear you're amazing. You created this great, man. Tell me a little bit about how you did it. And I'll talk your ear off about that, right? I'm proud of what we've done over here. Just same as you, Mary. When I say, "Hey, how'd you do that?" You were proud of what you created because it was amazing. And so I think, when loan officers think, "Well, I have to bring something to the table. I have to bring you a busload of widgets and websites and pick irons and gold maps and treasure maps and all this other stuff." While there's nothing wrong with that per se, I personally think it's the wrong approach, and that a lot of loan officers are hesitant to call up agents because they think I have to be a professional coach to these agents, and they're closing more than me. I feel inadequate in doing that, so I'm not going to pick up the call at all. And I would say push that disbelief to the side and just hook up with the agents, and what you bring of value to the table is your personality, and you just asking them questions and how they do this. And again, it's not done out of manipulation or anything. It's a general, authentic, tell me more about you, Mary, and how you
Exactly.
created this.
And
And
that's what's going to work, because bringing something to the table, I hear a lot of times LOs are, "Oh, I got to generate leads so I can, give leads to real estate agents so that I can, get them to start to work with me," which is a very noble and very amazing, thought. But as an agent, I never expected leads from my lenders. I've never expected them. When I would get them from the lender that I would refer to, because I'm very loyal that way, I would appreciate it, but I never expected it. But here's the thing: if I got a call from a lender I had never met before, didn't have a relationship with, and say, "I have a really great lead for you, Mary. I'd love to give you this lead," I don't think I'd take it, Carl, because I don't know, that's my reputation that's on the line too, right? So great, I can go show property and meet people, and in this market write 13 different offers on different houses because we have such an inventory shortage.
yeah,
But I'm not sure that, and so you fall in love with your buyer during that time, and I know I have to give it back to the lender that gave it to me, but I don't know for sure if I don't know anything about them.
yeah,
However, if they would have just called me over and over and over again and try to just meet with me and authentically really just want to get to know who I am to see if we would fit together, then as we start to develop that relationship, then maybe down the pike, but I certainly don't expect any leads from a lender. I just
yeah.
don't. It's my job, not
And
theirs.
I always thought I didn't have to worry about bringing you leads because you already had a successful business, and I'm assuming that your leads came off of your sign calls and
Just
doing.
sphere of influence, and yeah, Yeah,
Yeah. And that,
it came from sign calls. I never did the Zillow thing or the bus bench thing or the,
yeah.
I don't know, it just seemed to
So
work.
I did the bus bench thing, by the way. I
Oh,
have to admit,
sorry.
I'm a recovering bus bench guy. I
I'm
spent,
not, and I'm not maligning that or discounting that in any
oh,
way.
dude, I am. I'm going to tell you. So if you hear nothing else on this podcast today, do
Don't do
not do the bus bench thing. I'm just telling you. There's two things I wouldn't do. Number one is a bus bench thing. And then number two is open up a booth at a flea market. We don't have time to go into either story right now, but I can tell you
Can I
that's,
tell you, don't do your business card on one of those laminated tables in a pub, because you will get some interesting phone calls at midnight.
yeah, there's nothing I'd rather have than
Do
my personal cell phone in front of people after they consumed a lot of alcoholic beverages. Yeah, to have my phone number on the table there. So that's very interesting.
Yeah.
A whole separate. Did you ever you get any good calls from like a business card on the laminated table, or were they all just kind of weird calls?
They were all weird. Not one
Yeah.
drop. I don't remember what I paid for that, but it was money that I should have just burned in the
Yeah, I get
jar.
it. So I think the point, one of the main things that I wanted to have you on here today is to help inspire loan officers to not be intimidated by the top producing agents that I have to come in and help you build your business. Your business is already built and you're really just looking
As a
for your
matter of
loans to
fact,
close.
Carl, excuse me, but as a matter of fact, as a whale in my industry, I'm not looking for a lender to tell me how to build my business. I'm sorry.
You make a good point. Because it'd be like going on the Oprah show and say, Oprah, let me tell you how to interview. Right? It's like,
let me tell you how to do this job. Yeah.
yeah.
I'm just
That's a great
looking
point.
for someone who's interested in how I got there. I mean, I'm very egotistical, which a lot of us kind of top producing agents are.
Sure.
And I love to share how I built the business, how I balance work and life. Like no lender except for you maybe back in the day asked me, how'd you get into this business? No little girl that I've ever heard said, when I grow up, I want to be a realtor. So tell me the story. That's a great question to ask. Just tell me the story. How'd you get into it? What do you love about it? How do you balance work life? What's on your bucket list? Just get to know them as a human being, because you will set yourself apart. All the LOs that are listening, by just being authentically curious.
I got a question for you. How many calls do you get? So real question, I have no idea the answer. How many calls do you get from loan officers on a weekly basis hey, Mary, I'd like to take you to I've heard about you. I'd like to take you for a cup of coffee. The coffee invitation thing. How many of those do you get a week?
Honestly, during the refi boom, almost none, which was a really, now it's starting to happen again. I would say it happens twice a week. And as a coach with the Freedom Club, Carl, this is true. I invite them to call me again. I say, I'm so sorry. I can't talk to you right now. Could you please give me a call next Tuesday, sometime between 2 and 4? They're like, sure. Do you know how many have called me the second time?
How many?
None.
Zero. That doesn't surprise me.
Because I'm a coach for the Freedom Club. I want to give them the opportunity. Sure, I'd be happy to talk to you. They don't call me a second time.
Isn't that funny? So why don't they, do you think? Just no follow-up?
No follow-up. Maybe they're afraid. I have no idea. But I try to be very kind. Or do you know that you called me 4 or 5 times, I think, before we actually met for a cup of coffee? But you set yourself apart, Carl, just by calling me again and again. Hey, Mary, it's Monday morning again. Maybe it wasn't Monday. I don't know now. But yeah. I still like to get you for that cup of coffee. I just want to know what you're doing. I'm just super curious.
Mm-hmm. I got another question for you. This is really good stuff, by the way. I'm glad we scheduled this. So our good friend Steve Kiles,
yes,
one of the leaders here in the Freedom Club, also, he has this thing that he calls "touch the lead, touch the partner."
Love that.
And what he means by that is every time I talk to that lead, like let's say you refer me over to Mr. and Mrs. Jones. That every time I talk to Mr. and Mrs. Jones or anybody on my team, my loan officer assistant or my processor, if they talk to Mr. and Mrs. Jones, soon as they get off the phone call, they immediately call you and say, hey, just give me an update where I just got off the phone with Mrs. Jones and We're collecting some more docs. I made like, I'm not going to give details about, hey, I'm missing page 3 of her bank statement, but we're still collecting more docs. I just want to give you an update. She said that I'm supposed to have those docs over by this afternoon, and next time I talk to her, I'll give you a call. So that constant updating, that might even be like once a day in the early stages of the loan where we're touching. Is that too many calls to call and update you? Do you get, I don't know, is there such a thing as, do you
Too
get
much communication? No.
is there too much, is there a thing as too much communication?
No, Carl, that's my paycheck.
Yeah.
I gave you a name and a number, and that's how I feed my family. That's my
Mhm.
paycheck. So maybe if I see your call come in, I'm in the middle of showing property or whatever, but I'll tell you, the scariest thing for a realtor is to hand a name and a phone number over and then not know what disposition that particular lead is in. Are they in
Mhm.
credit repair? Did they go somewhere else? Did something else happen? Do you need help collecting the documents? I mean, this is a quick market. They sounded to me like they were really hot. Are they not responding? Ask me for help.
Mhm.
No, it's a partnership.
You know it.
Does Maria ever say, "Oh, you communicate with me too much, Carl"?
No, that's a great point. Has a wife or a husband say, you tell me you appreciate me too much?
Yeah.
Like that'll never happen, like ever. Like
Mm-mm.
I literally can't think of any time ever that an agent has told us, hey, you're over communicating, like ever. So it's just never happened. So very interesting. Mary, is there anything, where I see we're kind of up on, what I call drive time here? Is there anything I didn't ask you, this morning that maybe I should have? Anything I missed, you think?
No, I think that this is just such a great topic, and I feel like I'm just so honored to be here. But no, I think we got communication making me look really, really good, come from a place of curiosity and posture. You know, it's like you just get to know these people that are in front of you that you'd like to. We're all human beings too,
Hmm.
with stuff, and would love a new friend, honestly,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
what it's all about.
For me, it was kind of like, I guess if I sum this up, is that for me, when I'm making the calls to the agents, Mary, I don't want to work your deals. I want to work with you.
Mhm.
And not just saying that because it sounds nice, but like literally, I want to work with you because I know if I work that one deal, then I got a deal. But if I'm working with you, number one, I get to hang out with a winner, and then I get the next one and the next one and the next one and the next one, and then you invite me, or introduce me to some of your friends.
If it's not about the deal,
Yeah.
then when a deal goes south, which they do,
Mm,
our relationship is preserved always. It's, oh well, if Carl couldn't get it done, nobody could get it done.
yeah. And understand, and I think also understanding that, hey, sometimes I can't think of one in recent years, but sometimes we're gonna blow it, right? Sometimes I'm not gonna tell you everything's perfect over here, right? Sometimes I'll stub my toe, and I find, obviously we want that to happen very little, of course, but you and I have such a relationship that if I do stub my toe, the relationship survives a stub toe. Now, if I amputate your ankle, we got an issue, right? That's a different conversation.
But mistakes happen, but the intention is there. Always,
Mm,
always, always.
great point.
Yeah.
Well, Mary, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you, just your friendship and your guidance and mentorship, throughout the years, and now, with you as a coach of the in the Freedom Club. I thought you add just a very special, perspective to our group of, well, the topic of this podcast: what does a realtor really want? And really, you're kind of like a myth buster to me, that we all have these, visions that the agents are like mean ogres, and you're only good as your last deal, and I have to bring $500 every time I see you. Not figuratively, that's figuratively speaking. I'm not talking about, that if I don't bring enough widgets to you, you're not going to work with me. And I find that is absolutely not. I've often
Absolutely
thought
not.
the widgets can actually hurt us, because then if you don't use the widget, or if you don't like the widget, and that's what our relationship is based on, now you don't like me. And so I've often thought sometimes the widgets can actually hurt us more than help us. That if I give you a widget, now you got something else to do, and as a top producer, you might not want anything else to do. So
Exactly.
yeah, cool.
Exactly.
All right, hey gang, thanks so much for listening. Be sure to reach out and give Mary some love. Just an outstanding individual. Hey, if you'd like to map out some of the different ways that we talk with the agents, like we have a script literally for each day of the week, every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, not on Fridays, because we take Fridays off. We take Fridays and the weekends off. But if you'd like to go over some of the different scripts or some of the different strategy we have for each day of the week and some of the unique viewpoints we have of that, and finding ways to meet the Marys of the world, you can simply schedule a call with us and we'll map that out for you. It's loanofficerstrategycall.com, loanofficerstrategycall.com. Just go to that website. And when you go there, you'll give me just a little bit of information about you, like where you at, what's going on. And that way we'll map out a plan because we find that, some of the scripts are better for somebody that's already closing 20 loans a month and somebody already closing 100 loans a month. And some of the scripts are better for somebody only closing 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 loans a month. And if we have a little bit of background about where you are and what you're working on, we can structure this call more to match where you are. So again, that's loanofficerstrategycall.com. No charge, random act of coolness. Would love to help you. We do it on a Zoom call. So I recommend not being in your car driving or anything like that, because you're going to want to take some screenshots of some of the things that we're going to show you. So Mary, you're an awesome lady. I absolutely adore you. You're just a wonderful person, and I appreciate you taking the time with me today.
Thank you, Carl. I had a great time.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We appreciate it. And thanks again for all the reviews and sharing this episode. If you think somebody would benefit from this episode, share it. And if you want us to help us share it, leave a review. That helps the algorithm out. And if you take a picture of that review and email it to me, I can be ethically bribed into sending you a Mortgage Marketing Animal coffee cup. Just email it to support@themarketinganimals.com. Take a picture of the review, good or bad, just an honest one, and we'll send you a Mortgage Marketing Animals coffee mug. Thanks again, and we'll talk to you when we call in. Bye-bye, everybody.